Okay, so Uranium update here on July 10th. It's a Sunday night, so we did have a full weekly candle, and we're starting our week tomorrow morning. And this is going to be, sort of really pulled in the direction of the general markets, and the futures are sort of red so far. It's an inside week and an inside day, so nothing huge so far. Again, Sunday night, it's about 10 p.m. So I've been trading for like 4 hours now. So nothing huge has happened just yet, but be mindful it is leaning sort of lower. So if we start with the daily cycle, it looks like we're on day 10, if anything, and we actually had our high on day 3 at 23.51. So now we want to see, we close at 22.27, it looks like, on Friday. So we want to see if we can make that high above 23.51. But more importantly, I'd say the weekly and monthly and sort of longer term cycle is what you want to pay attention to. Because, so again, go back to that daily cycle. This day 28 low as the daily cycle, we undercut it again on June 30th and then undercut it again on July 6th. So any one of these three could have been your quote unquote DCL, daily cycle low. It's probably more important to understand where are we in the weekly cycle and that longer term cycle. So in that weekly cycle, this definitely, I'll just take the crosshairs off. This definitely has the look of a bear flag forming, right? So did we make a new low last week? So 2035 versus 2034? No. So we actually did not make a new low. So last week was just an inside week, week 8, right? So you can see, but we didn't make a new high, right? Again, that's what an inside week is. It does nothing. It doesn't make a new low, doesn't make a new high. And so this has been consolidating here for 3 weeks. You notice that you had this big bearish candle, right, on week 4. Notice that's marked, that 4, that's telling you that was week 4, and that was what we expected was our weekly cycle high. Once we went below the low of that week, which is what this line is here, right, that 24.55 level, the low of this week, that was your swing high. We had that gap down that next week. Big, huge red candle. But then since then, we've really just consolidated within this range, but it's been within the lower end of the range of this big, huge red bearish candle. That suggests to me we are going lower, right? That we're going to sweep the lows below here, which is 20.02. So yeah, that $20 level that we looked at the monthly in previous videos. And this is CCJ just for a proxy, but there's a reason I'm using it for a proxy. I believe the entire uranium space is in a similar situation, really. Similar chart pattern also, right? Big downdraft this way, right? So again, I'll zoom in just to make sure everyone can see. Big downdraft. Rally. This is your high, week 4. This is a high. This is also a high. This high is lower than this high. It's a lower high. That's how a downtrend works, folks. You have a lower low, then you have a lower high. Now, interestingly enough, we did not make a lower low below this low yet. And that's the key, right? It looked like we were going to, right? This huge red candle looked like it was going to make a low below here, but it didn't. It's held so far. And last week we had kind of a chance. It's like, it looked like, okay, wait, are we going to make a high above this week? We needed to get above 23.51. We can still do that, right? We can still do that this week. We can still do that next week. There's still opportunity, but until we do that, we're just really kind of consolidating here, sort of ready to dump, in my mind, is what this is kind of sort of setting up for. And it's week 8 of a cycle that is usually around 20 weeks long. The last one was 15 weeks, so it was pretty short, which means it's probably going to not be that short this time. And certainly 8 weeks is, you wouldn't expect you'd get a cycle low at this point. At the same time, I always say, and it's important, these the cycle counts are not magical. There's nothing about them that's mystical. They don't control anything. It's about the price action. And so far, this price action is a bear flag, right? This is a consolidation on the lower end of the range after this massive downdraft here. And so if we look at the monthly chart, that gives us a window into the longer term cycle, which is a 3-year cycle. Easy math, 36 months. I keep saying this. We had our high in April. That is month 25. It is very, very likely that is our high for the 36-month cycle. So think about that. If our high was on month 25, and this is actually month 28, right? So 26, 27, 28, July, month 28. Then if we get our low around month 36, that means we have lower lows to go, right? Just to be sort of crystal clear here, right? Like what we're talking about is we're going to get rallies along the way, right? Like, maybe we even continue up here, right? But then, right? And eventually that will stop and then we'll get, a move up. But we have to prepare ourselves for a slide lower here, considering we probably have our 3-year cycle top at month 25. I think that's probably the most important thing to take away from here. And if we zoom in, or I should say zoom out to just a bunch of different uranium equities, they're all green on the monthly chart, which is great, right? That's a potential reversal in the process, right? After 3 months of red for most of them, they're finally showing a sign of green. And so it's possible that there's a huge reversal in the works and a lot of money to be made from that. It is also possible that this quote unquote reversal in the making is going to get reversed itself. It's very early in the month so far, technically, right? Like there've only been a few trading days, really, with the July 4th holiday especially. And so you have to be careful. And you think about that longer, like the idea that we've had this huge rally into 25 months. And from there, we had a swing high on the monthly level, and we're now moving lower. It makes a lot of sense that we're going to start to grind lower. It's just a question of where that low hits, right? So we'll have to watch these different equities. We know what the levels are, right? Like for Denison, it would need to get above like 140, right? So that'd be like a 35% rally it need to make, right? CCJ needs to get to like the 28 level, right? So another $6. So that's another 30%, right? So big hurdles to climb here, all really big hurdles to climb. You can all see big bearish wicks, right? For the most part. So a lot of wood to chop for uranium and likely a grind lower with the general markets, QE being completely dragged away and QT really being the regime now.